It's a good little debate. I mean, I think.
What do you guys think? Which ones do you think is better if you had to pick?
If you had to pick
a goblet squat or a sumo squat with a kettlebell?
Goblet versus sumo.
You like the goblet more?
Yeah.
See, I like the sumo more.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm kind of in between. I think goblet just because of, I don't know, maybe more core activation.
That's how I feel more core activation. The more pathway has to be traveled.
Yeah.
You have to go deeper into
That's right. It's very form specific.
Why don't you demo the goblet squat? I'll demo the sumo.
Okay, so a goblet squat with the kettlebell, which is actually kind of nice because it's kind of comfortable. You can
It is,
the way you can hold
yeah. You got nice handles there.
Yeah, right. So I want my stance, and everybody's squat stance is going to be a little bit different, but you want to be able to get down to where you can drop down both between your legs.
So it's important how you're gripping it first off, right? You're gripping the sides of the handle, kettlebell up against your
and
body.
I'm getting my shoulders retracted, right? Good posture, just like if I was going to do any normal squat position. And then when I come down, I'm going to be able to get the kettlebell down.
Got it.
And keep it in close and tight to the body. My chest, shoulders. My chest is up, shoulders are retracted. I'm all the way up.
Yeah, that's a good range of motion.
And then you could do, and this is the way that I also had an extension to that. So if you wanted to make it even more difficult, you're going to bring those elbows completely in, especially down at the bottom. So when I have it in tight, I'm bringing my elbows in.
This is the version I'm familiar with right here.
So as I come down, it's close to my body, but then I really have to keep.
You know what this does too? This encourages rounded back lifting.
Well, I was going to say, see,
notice
I'm the opposite, right? So I peeled my shoulder blades back.
He's letting them come forward.
Right.
And something that people need to know is that strengthening those different positions of the scapula is very important. Strengthening it in this position and in this position because it strengthens a different range of motion.
Well, here's a great example of how, academia people sort of debate things, right? Like there's a small variation where somebody who just watched how I did it might pick it apart and be like, or somebody watched how Justin did it.
No, that's why I just did that because I'm in a different camp. You obviously learned it that way.
Well, I personally like the sumo squat, and I'll tell you why. Sumo squat's easy to teach, easy to learn, doesn't require, sometimes you have, when you're doing a goblet squat, the limiting factors are your arms, being able to hold it with your hands. Especially some of my female clients will have trouble gripping onto a kettlebell that they can lift with their legs, but they can't necessarily hold it with their hands. So I can use heavier resistance. And a sumo squat with a kettlebell, very, very basic. You get a wide stance on either side of the kettlebell, squat down nice and low, good posture, nice tall posture with the chest, and just press through and stand up. Squat back down, hit the floor with the kettlebell, pause for a second, and come right back up. Now, this is a great glute exercise. Very, very good for the glutes.
I'll even go wider.
Yeah, I was going to say, I go wider and I externally rotate even more.
Exactly.
Extreme.
I'll exaggerate.
So you go really wide.
I just did this with our big monster the other day where I was actually working on the eccentric motion when I was doing it because we were doing a really heavy weight and I was just trying to help Katrina with her hip hinging and that's all I wanted to concentrate on. So I'm dropping the hips down. I picked that big weight up. Hips are come through.
And you're going to feel stretch right in those adductors, huh?
Yep.
See, the problem is I have trouble getting too wide with my hips. I mean, I guess I could do it to work on mobility.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe I'll go with a lighter weight. The way I teach it typically is more a little bit closer together because it seems to be more applicable to most people, to more people, I should say. But I mean,
well, let's talk about that. That's the reason why this is uncomfortable for me. This is not a very comfortable position, but that's what I'm trying to work on.
You're trying to train within
That's the intention of this exercise for you.
Yeah, exactly. The intention is I want to exaggerate this, just like I would exaggerate a narrow squat too. So you'll actually see me even squat with a crazy stance like this, where I'm all the way in close and tight, because I'm going to exaggerate. Now, do I think this is the best way to squat for performance or lifting the most amount? Of course not. It's going to be in more of a natural position for me. But if I'm working on something and I'm trying to challenge that, I'm going to put as narrow as I can to challenge how narrow I can go, and then I'm going to go as wide as I can to try and challenge the opposite.
One more variation, actually, that I've taught quite a few times in the past, is to do these one-handed and alternate at the bottom. Because now you're loading unilaterally, you're going to get different load on either side of the body. So I'll go hand on the hip, good posture. Do your squat, come back down on the floor, stay down, switch hands, and then repeat.
I love that.
Yeah, just a nice variation. But personally, like I said, sumo squats for me with kettlebell, one of my top, 10 lower body exercises.
Well, it's a good movement to actually teach. So the reason why I was
it's a safe movement too.
Yeah. So the reason why I used it, I'm trying to perfect. I'm teaching Katrina right now. Like she's starting to lift heavy sumo. So she's gotten really good at conventional deadlifting. Now I'm trying to help her work on her sumo deadlift. And this was a great tool because it's just comfortable. It's not a barbell where you're worried about a barbell hitting your shin. She can straddle over it. She can really concentrate.
You can stay more upright.
Yeah, you can stay a lot more upright. And it's very comfortable to grab onto this inside. And when you get out here, now you have to balance weights.
The load is in the midline, and
Yes.
so it makes everything more controllable that way. And
Exactly.
I think that's why, a heavier kettlebell, the heaviest you can do, if we can all centralize that into the midline of your body, you're gonna have a lot more control, and you're gonna really feel a nice solid lift out of that.
Yeah, we have a 128, 130 pound kettlebell. That's a good amount of weight for her to be doing a sumo squat.
Very good,
Most girls have a hard time with 145 plus pounds. So, but she could rep that out no problem, just because it's so easy to hold on to in the center, like Justin was saying.
So I guess the
Great tool.
debate unresolved. They're both good.
They're both good.
Great
damn it.
movements.